The following is an excerpt from the novel Promo Cowboy by Barry Fitzsimmons, read by the author. Chapter 3. Abide the seasons and the times, I always say. Easy when times are flush. Only now a dry season's upon me. Ain't had no work since Friday last, with old Joey Stolichnaya at Times Square Video. Here it is the next Friday. Been a whole week, and this cowboy ain't done more'n push buttons on the phone and on that TV remote. Ain't worn much neither, beyond my everyday hat and a pair of old boxers. It's summertime after all, and Cowboy don't do no air conditioning. I'm flat out of prospects and awful low on funds. Weighed in the balance and found wanting, like old Johnny Cash sings it, like that darn Willie Schubermiller prophesied on that back stairwell at TSV when he made that offer. Still, I couldn't never work for that snake. Empty pockets ain't no fun, only, truth be told, I don't revel in flush times neither. Seems how they make a fella act and feel different, like the world's his footstool. Best to carry a low overhead, I reckon. Pay the rent, what bills you got, and float on what's left till the next check comes, all the while keeping a humble and generous spirit. And if times get desperate, that bank machine will give you hard cash, even after your accounts run dry. Of course, it don't never come to that. There's always one client or another that's been holding out on old Cowboy for some job I done months ago. Trust me, them folks have all heard from yours truly over the past week. A bad habit it is to let 'em sit on money that by rights belongs to me, only as part of the territory for a sole proprietor. Gotta be awful diplomatic-like with these clients. That way, when they get desperate for a top hand, I might get lucky and get my back-due wages by overnight mail, plus a notch or two in the old favor bank, and a project to go with. Of course, I'm just as likely to get yelled at by some HR type who tells me how their former creative director was off the reservation when he hired me, and he pocketed a whole lot of cream off the top to boot, 'fore he was run out on a rail, that is, and they'll see me in court 'fore I see a dime. Nope, TV promos ain't no business to be in, not if good faith's what you rely on. It's grace I rely on, and grace alone's the only thing that'll explain them surprise checks that come like manna when I need 'em most. Nights when that happens, drinks are on me. There's times, too, when, from out the blue, by the grace of our Father who art in heaven, I get a call from a new client, somebody I ain't never heard of, and that's just what happens when Friday's almost gone. Of a sudden, my old AT&T goes off like church bells. I count 3 rings and pick up that phone. "Cowboy here," I say all cool and low. "This is Belinda Justice from..." A womanly voice, with a touch of whiskey scratch, tells me the name of her operation, only I don't hear so good, on account of I'm at the same time offering a silent hosanna to the Lord. "Say again, ma'am, please." "Belinda Justice, from TV station. Have I reached Franklin Mill..." She speaks a name, or half of one, and I cut her off with my coughin' sound, the one I make when it's time to change the subject. A throaty hack it is, and it finishes with a chuckle, like my drink's gone down the wrong pipe, and ain't nobody finds it funnier'n yours truly. Wipes the slate clean like always. "You all right?" she says, once I'm quit. "Am now, ma'am. And you can do us both a solid by calling me Promo Cowboy, or plain old Cowboy. Forget you ever heard that other name. Use it only for tax purposes and police inquiries." That Belinda lets out a giggle. "He told me you were a character." I checked the urge to inquire who he is, and I wonder who'd be telling this woman my given name instead of my nom de guerre. Anyhow, she says how she's heading up marketing and promotions for a new cable startup. It's called TV Station. Isn't that cute? That woman makes a little coo. We're in the city, of course. "Where at?" I say, and I feel my neck hairs rise. "Our offices are just off Times Square, on 42nd. My eyes go wide. "And your post-production studio?" She waits a beat. "Still in the design phase. We're set to go live in about 2 weeks, though. Ever work on a cable launch?" "Only about 100 times," I bark out. "100," she says back like a school teacher. I make a wince. Maybe that figure's a tad bloated. Guess I've worked on half that many launches, if you include networks, stations, and new shows all together like, plus relaunches. Really, she says, still the skeptic. God's honest, I tell her. That should come in handy with all we have to deliver. Guess I can't tell if I'm hired or if she's trying to trip me up. Right then she throws a curve, and I know it's the latter. You weren't there, were you? At the place? Shoot, that woman had to go and bring up the place, also known as Lifestyle Television. Been near 20 years since they launched that blasted LTV, and it dogs me to this day how I missed the party. And them who were there, who worked on that launch, won't call it by name, according with some secret code or curse, ain't sure which. But that LTV changed the world, it did. Mostly on account of the founder, Sam Ballett, is a crafty old genius, kind that comes along once a century. Anyhow, I make a huff and play it straight as I can. Ain't sure I follow you, ma'am. That Belinda makes her own little huff. Never mind. We're a bit behind schedule. There's a lot of catching up to do. The smile's back in her voice. I need help getting this off the ground. I'm here for you, ma'am. Please, call me Belinda. She tells me some more about her cable venture called TV Station. Guess I'm fairly impressed by the concept. A neo-retro classic version of television, like from back in the day. TV the way it used to be, before there were such things as cables and satellites and digital this and high-def that, and the much ballyhooed but mostly disappointing 500-channel universe. Way she tells it, TV Station's going to be a national network that's localized, with news and pop culture and sports headline banners, plus box office numbers and traffic and weather, and various other viewer value convections that are regionalized across time zones and day parts, and interspersed throughout the programming hour with banners and pop-up ads that bubble to the surface every 5 to 15 minutes, or the top and bottom of the hour. That part ain't been decided yet. My mind floats off during her saleswoman's pitch, and I start to feel all warm inside, thinking back on my childhood, front of the tube, with all them black and white comedies, and the westerns, and them variety shows with all the dancing girls. The men wore dark suits, and the women looked spiffy, and everybody smoked cigarettes, and there was lots of cute jingly commercials, and nobody got hurt, mostly. I'm nodding along, thinking how a network like that's going to need a lot of promotion, till I say, Ms. Belinda, a network like that's going to need a lot of promotion. Duh, that's why I'm calling, she says back, smart aleck-like. My contacts in New York are a bit thin. I just came from out west for this job. I make a nod. That's why I ain't heard your name for now, on account of I know just about everybody in this trade, that is, here in this town, only I go out on a limb. Ain't that a little New York I hear in your voice? It's true, she's got a rusty turn on her vowels, plus she talks awful fast. Well, she holds a beat, and I believe I've charmed her. I did move out west for college, and just never came back. But I'm a Brooklyn girl. My family's right where I left them, like they were cast in amber. Then it's a hero's welcome, I say, knowing how the pride runs deep in them outer boroughs. Your folks must be beaming. Yeah, they might beam a little more if I wasn't still single. I make a huff. No shame in it. Single suits me. Seems they ought to no matter what be proud looking on their Belinda, their prodigal promo director daughter. Actually, just so we're clear, my title isn't promo director. It's executive vice president. I hear a tire screech, even though I'm indoors. Excuse me, ma'am, acting all familiar like I done. Please, I prefer you this way. We're friends already and we haven't even met. I know it, but... Look, I'm a big girl with a big job, but still a little girl deep down. Lucky I have Sam Ballett to lean on. Sam Ballett? I know that fella. Well, I know about him. A top-shelf cable developer he is. A real visionary. He's TV Station's president and CEO, and I have the privilege of reporting directly to him as chief branding officer. She makes her little coo, pleased-like. Good thing Sanby's an old friend. Guess so, I say, cautious-like. Only, why is somebody like you calling somebody like me? Ain't often you find the cowboys mixing with the suits, less it's the company picnic and the keg ain't yet been tapped. Belinda makes a giggle. I'm not that kind of executive. And once the launch is over, I'll be hiring a director to run the department. Sooner if possible. You don't say, I say, itching to get started. Guess you come from one of them big network HQs out west. Belinda makes another laugh. I'm from the product side. In a way, I'm new to the TV business. She reels out some of that executive speak about getting her darn MBA out west, then climbing the ladder at one company after another till she jumped ship to the TV side and got Sam Ballett to foot it for her first-class move back east. Meantime, I'm wondering how come she'd know about the place if she's new to the industry. Don't make no sense, that. Marketing's all the same, she says, like I already heard it from every other darn VP type I've met. Whether it's cars or food or diapers or television, it doesn't matter what the product is, as long as it's properly researched and focus grouped and driven by a strategic plan. Plus, I say, on account of I can't resist, about 10 silly meetings per day. Belinda waits a beat, then, lucky you for not having to sit through those silly meetings. Check the backside of everybody in them meetings. You'll find the company logo tattooed right there in the soft flesh. Yep, I guess I've lost a touch of respect for Belinda Justice and her clean hands, only I've gained some too, a different kind. Ain't no tattoos on my behind. That smile in her voice is gone. Are you trying to tell me something? Only just that I ain't the type of... I right then stop and come to my senses. What a fool I am to let the enemy sour my thinking. Resentment and contempt, they're Satan's tools all right, and they get me into heaps of trouble sometimes. Never you mind it, Ms. Justice. I'm stepping way out of line. Sure enough, the air between us goes dead. Gone and blown it I have, thrown away my daily bread. Only then she drops a crumb off her table. I know the corporate structure thing can be a problem for some freelancers. I hope it isn't for you. No, ma'am. I just ought to remember my place. Awful sorry I am. That Belinda waits another long beat. Then she makes that little coo. Okay, cowboy, she says, like she's made up her mind. I think I get you. There's another beat of dead air. So you're mine for the next month. I steel myself. Should be fine, ma'am. She thrusts at my weak spot. Exclusively? Believe so, I parry back. Just have to fix things up with my other clients. Oh, If your other clients are a problem, then I'd rather not. Don't you worry, ma'am. Ain't no problems. I need someone who's fully committed, cowboy. I hope you understand. Gotta admit, for somebody new to the trade, she's a natural at negotiations with a freelance. Course you do, and I'm your man. Now, about my rates. Yes, tell me about your rates, she says, like a sovereign duchess. I start my windy pitch on what I charge by day, week, or month. The idea is to sound buttoned up on such matters, only right in the middle of it she cuts me off. Forget all that. Just bill me your regular day rate, plus 100. That should make it easier to fix things up with those other clients. Yep, for somebody new to the business, this Belinda sure knows how to sweet-talk a freelance. She can't see it, but I got me a grin from chop to chop. Believe it will, ma'am. Start Monday? Heck, I can start right now. Got some tapes for me to look at? Scripts I can write? Or just look over, maybe tighten them up? The scripts are all vetted and approved thanks to all those silly meetings we held. She makes that little coo again. We're deep in the production phase and way behind schedule. So get some rest. I'll need you bright-eyed at Times Square Video first thing Monday. TSV, shoot. That's just the place I was going to propose we do all this work. Since you ain't got your own studio, that is. There's an editor there, name's Joey Stolichnaya. Him and me go way back. Belinda takes in a deep, long breath. Lucky air indeed. That's good news, cowboy, because I've booked Joey Stolichnaya to work with us for the rest of the month. I give my foo a scratch, thinking maybe I misjudged Ms. Justice. Solid planning that is, ma'am. All part of the marketing strategy. Ta-ta, cowboy. That line goes dead. I hang up my end and make a smile. Then I smile some more. And wouldn't you know it, not 5 minutes goes by before another call comes. This time from my old friend and colleague, Jim Jones, promo director at Channel 3, the world-famous Trey. Jim's a big old bear of a fella, with a bad knee and a bad habit to go with. A taste for bourbon at lunchtime, that is. He tells me how he's got a solid month of news dailies to get done. Grunt work, but honest. This has Promo Cowboy written all over it, Jim says. Need you to start Monday. It pains me to decline, only at the same time it feels sort of good. On account of that atmosphere over at the tray, well, it's a bit like boot camp. Not that I ever served.